I'm still trying to understand why my credit score dropped 47 points the moment I paid off my $12,819 car loan. It was like I'd been punched in the gut, all that hard work and financial discipline, and yet, the reward was a lower credit score. That's when it hit me. I wasn't alone in this situation. Millions of people have experienced the same thing, and it's not just about paying off debt, it's about understanding how credit scores work. I mean, who wouldn't want to pay off their debt and start fresh, right? But, what if I told you that paying off debt can sometimes have the opposite effect on your credit score? By the end of this, you'll understand why your credit score might drop when you pay off debt, and what you can do to prevent it, or at least, minimize the damage. I'll share my own story, and the stories of others who've been in similar situations, and we'll dive into the world of credit scores, and explore the often confusing rules that govern them. I remember talking to my friend, Rachel, a 32-year-old marketing manager, who paid off her $9,500 credit card debt in just 11 months, only to see her credit score drop by 32 points. She was devastated, and I couldn't blame her. It didn't make sense. She'd done everything right, made all her payments on time, and yet, her reward was a lower credit score. That's when I realized that there's more to credit scores than just paying off debt. It's about understanding the complex algorithms that govern them, and how different actions can affect your score. For example, did you know that closing old accounts can actually hurt your credit score, even if you've paid off the debt? It's like the credit scoring system is designed to keep you in debt, or at least, that's how it feels. But, don't worry, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to empower you with knowledge, so you can make informed decisions about your finances. So, let's dive in and explore the world of credit scores, and find out why paying off debt can sometimes have the opposite effect. One of the main reasons your credit score might drop when you pay off debt is due to something called credit utilization. It's like a big puzzle, and when you pay off debt, you're removing a piece of the puzzle, which can affect the overall picture. For example, let's say you have two credit cards, one with a $2,000 limit, and one with a $5,000 limit. You've got a $1,000 balance on the first card, and you pay it off. Suddenly, your credit utilization ratio changes, and that can affect your credit score. It's not just about credit utilization, though. There are other factors at play, like credit age and credit mix. It's like a big recipe, and when you change one ingredient, the whole dish changes. So, when you pay off debt, you're changing the ingredients, and that can affect the overall outcome. Now, I know what you're thinking. What can I do to prevent my credit score from dropping when I pay off debt? Well, the first thing you can do is to keep your old accounts open, even if you've paid off the debt. It's like keeping an old friend. They might not be as active, but they're still part of your history. Another thing you can do is to monitor your credit utilization ratio, and make sure it's not too high. It's like keeping an eye on your weight. You want to make sure you're not overdoing it. And, finally, you can diversify your credit mix by having different types of credit, like credit cards, loans, and a mortgage. It's like having a diverse portfolio. It can help you weather any financial storm. So, there you have it. Paying off debt can sometimes have the opposite effect on your credit score, but by understanding the rules of the game, you can play it to your advantage. You're not alone in this. Millions of people have been in your shoes and have come out on top. Drop your biggest debt in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'll do my best to help you out. If you know someone who's struggling with debt, send them this video. It might just be the wake-up call they need. If that just clicked for you, hit like. It tells me to keep making this type of content. And if you want to learn more about credit scores and how to improve them, check out my next video, the 5 credit score mistakes you're making without realizing it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's take a closer look at credit utilization and how it can affect your credit score. For example, if you have a credit card with a $5,000 limit and you've got a $1,500 balance, your credit utilization ratio is 30%. That's not bad, but if you pay off that debt and then close the account, your credit utilization ratio could actually increase, because you've removed a big chunk of available credit from the equation. It's like a game of Jenga. You've got to be careful when you're removing pieces, because it can affect the whole structure. In fact, a study by FICO found that 1 in 5 consumers who pay off debt in close accounts experience a drop in their credit score. That's a significant number, and it's something to consider when you're making decisions about your debt. Another factor to consider is credit age, which accounts for about 15% of your credit score. It's like a fine wine, it gets better with age. So, when you pay off debt and close old accounts, you're essentially removing a part of your credit history, which can affect your credit age. For example, let's say you've got a credit card that you've had for 10 years, and you've always made your payments on time. If you pay off that debt and close the account, you're removing a decade of positive credit history, which can have a negative impact on your credit score. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about debt consolidation? Can't I just consolidate my debt and pay it off that way? Well, the answer is yes. Debt consolidation can be a great way to pay off debt, but it's not without its risks. For example, if you consolidate your debt into a new loan and then close the old accounts, you could be affecting your credit utilization ratio and your credit age. It's like a game of chess, you've got to think several moves ahead. So, if you're considering debt consolidation, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and that you're not inadvertently harming your credit score. In fact, a study by the Federal Reserve found that 60% of consumers who consolidate their debt experience a significant improvement in their credit score, but that means 40% don't. So, what can you do to avoid being part of that 40%? First, make sure you're consolidating your debt into a loan with a lower interest rate and a longer repayment term. That way, you'll be paying less interest, and you'll have more time to pay off the debt. Second, make sure you're not closing old accounts, because that can affect your credit utilization ratio and your credit age. It's like a seesaw, you've got to balance your debt and your credit score. And, finally, make sure you're monitoring your credit report and your credit score to make sure everything is accurate and up to date. You can request a free credit report from each of the 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, once a year, and you should take advantage of that. In fact, a study by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that 1 in 5 consumers have errors on their credit report, which can affect their credit score. So, it's like a treasure hunt, you've got to search for those errors and get them corrected. Now, I want to share with you a personal story about how I paid off my own debt and how it affected my credit score. I had a $10,000 credit card debt with an interest rate of 18%, and I was determined to pay it off. I created a budget and I started making extra payments, and within 6 months, I had paid off the debt. But, when I checked my credit score, I was surprised to see that it had dropped by 25 points. I was confused, and I didn't understand why my credit score had dropped when I had done everything right. But, then I realized that I had closed the old account, and that had affected my credit utilization ratio and my credit age. It was like a puzzle, and I had removed a piece, which had changed the whole picture. So, what did I do? I reapplied for a new credit card with a similar limit, and I kept the old account open as a closed account, but not deleted. It was like keeping an old friend. They might not be as active, but they're still part of your history. And I started monitoring my credit utilization ratio and my credit age to make sure everything was in balance. It's like a game of balance, you've got to keep everything in check. And, finally, I started diversifying my credit mix by applying for a new loan and a mortgage. It was like creating a diverse portfolio. It helped me weather any financial storm. So, if you're struggling with debt and you're not sure what to do, just remember that you're not alone. Millions of people have been in your shoes and have come out on top. You can do the same by understanding the rules of the game and by making informed decisions about your debt. Drop your biggest debt in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'll do my best to help you out. If you know someone who's struggling with debt, send them this video. It might just be the wake-up call they need. And if you want to learn more about credit scores and how to improve them, check out my next video, the 5 credit score mistakes you're making without realizing it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. In fact, I want to give you a challenge. For the next 30 days, monitor your credit utilization ratio and your credit age and see how they affect your credit.